All right, well, let's go ahead and get started. Thank you so much for being here. This is my daily morning prime session, and so this week is part of Boulder Startup Week. I'm sharing it with the world, and we're doing this together. And so thank you so much for being here and being a part of it. I do morning prime for myself. I'm a serial tech entrepreneur, and it's a routine that I learned over the years from so many other high performers in entrepreneurship and business, great business leaders, as well as Olympians and military high performers. This is a practice in general structure that is used by so many people to prime mind and the body with of thinking patterns that we want to take with us through the day, the type of mind state that we want to survive through all the challenges that we run into in our daily lives as entrepreneurs and as people trying to change the world. So thank you for being here. I'm going to read we have a track sponsor. So first, I guess I want to thank all of the sponsors for Boulder Startup Week. And this is my favorite week of the year in Boulder every year. It's just such a fun time. And it's virtual this year, as we all know. But we're making the most of it. So if during today's session you want to picture your favorite place to be hanging out in Boulder other than in your house looking at your laptop right now, please transport yourself there. I'm thinking about either Highland City Club or Galvanize or the back porch of Trident or the library or Riverside, all the great venues that are so fun to walk to in the downtown for Startup Week. Picturing myself sitting next to the Canyon Creek and just letting the water flow by between sessions. That's probably about 30–40% of the value of Startup Week for me, is all the time downtown moving around between sessions. So yeah, thanks to all the sponsors. They're listed on the boulderstartupweek.com website. This event happened even in this virtual format, and their support over many, many years has been what makes this part of what makes this event so great. My organization is actually the health track sponsor, so in a weird role of reading a sentence or two about my own company, so I apologize in advance. But our team got really excited about the about 10 events being run in the health track this year and decided to jump in and become the sponsor. So thank you to the health track sponsor, Founders First System. Founders First is a simple framework that helps entrepreneurs stay healthy and happy while they build their companies and change the world. We've been using frameworks to optimize our companies for years. This is the first framework for optimizing founders themselves. Join the conversation by becoming a member of the Founders First community at community.foundersfirstsystem.com or by searching for the Founders First Community app in the iOS or Android app stores on your phone, on your smartphone. I am participating in a lot of conversations around topics like this in that community as well. So if you want to keep the conversation going or connect with myself and some of our other panelists, Keith Roberts, who is joining us today as well, you can find us there afterwards and we can continue the conversation about our morning priming routines. So let's go ahead and get started. I asked, as we were getting started, folks to share in chat what the best piece of advice they've ever been given was. Very open-ended question, but if you can think of a way to share the best advice you've ever received from somebody in your life, drop it into chat at any point during the session today. And it's a great opportunity to share what we've learned and also to see what some of other people's takeaways have been throughout their lives as well. So I do morning prime to get my mind and my body calm, positive, and prepared as I start my day. So I pull a tool from each of these categories. So we'll start with calm first. And the tool I picked for today is called 10 clearing breaths. And so it's just as simple as that, but we're all going to do this together. I'll lead us through it. And a clearing breath is a kind of a full breath in at a medium speed. So it's not fast or super slow or with sound like a yoga breath or anything like that. It's just breathe in, hold it for about a half second at the top. You can even pull your shoulders back or expand your chest a little bit. And then the release is not forceful. It's like a balloon has been popped. It's just letting go of the air and letting it fall out of your body, letting everything relax. Think about relaxing your face, dropping your shoulders back down, relaxing your chest on the out breath. So I'll go ahead and count these out together. Let's go ahead and start with first breath in. Hold for a half second and let it out. Breath 2 in. Hold for a half second. Let it out. Don't worry about the sound that you're making. You're all probably on mute anyway. and that is fine. You can actually come off of mute if you want to share the sound of your breath with the world like I'm doing, and that's totally fine. Let's do breath 3 in. Let it go. Breath 4 in. Let it go. Breath 5 in. Hold for just a half second and then let the balloon pop. Think about relaxing any tension in your shoulders, in the way you're sitting in your seat. See if you can get as comfortable and relaxed as you can. I think generally holding a straight chest upright, but everything else around it, relax. Breath 6 in, here we go. And release it. 7 in. And out. 8 in. Last 2, good work everybody. 9 in. And out. Breath 10, last one in. And out. Just think about letting any tension go, any thoughts that aren't serving you, any tension in your body, in your shoulders, in your neck, in your face. I find sometimes that I hold tension in my face, trying to think about what other people are perceiving if they're looking at my face right now, and trying to just let it go blank. Just let everything fall as the skin kind of just droops off my face as I relax. All right, you can return your breath to normal again, and just take a second to do just a personal inventory of how you feel now versus before the 10 breaths. Has anything changed? Do you feel hopefully more calm, more relaxed, a little more focused, maybe a little less attached to negative thoughts and emotions, maybe? Or maybe you feel worse because you wanted to do 50 of those breaths and I made you stop, so keep going if you want to. There's no wrong answer, but I think it's always really valuable to just take a second and analyze kind of what changed. Did that serve me in any way? Did that do anything for me? I like to use 10 clearing breaths before I start meetings, kind of with team meetings. If we're all sitting around a table in person, I think it's a great way to start a meeting by just getting everybody grounded, getting everybody out of whatever tension and thinking they brought in from the last event that they were involved in. And I think with all of us remote now during coronavirus and working from our laptops, you could do it between calls, between shifting context from one project to the next. When you get up to go to the other room and then come back again. I think it's a great practice to just kind of reset the mind and the body, and you can shorten it down to even 2 or 3 clearing breaths. For me, even has a great improvement in my mood. All right, so our second tool for today is a positivity visualization from the positivity category, and I'm going to lead us through this one. So go ahead and get comfortable in your seat again, or you can be laying down for this as well. Standing up works fine as well, but probably stationary so that you can close your eyes. And if you're seated, feet flat on the floor, and I like to do kind of back upright and off the back of the seat so you can get in a nice straight position if that's comfortable for you to close your eyes. So go ahead and escape from the environment around you by closing your eyes, and as I'm starting, feel free to transport yourself to your favorite place in Boulder. If we were outside during a regular Boulder startup week, where would you be sitting 5 minutes before a session started, kind of taking in the outdoors and the nature? Go ahead and close your eyes and let's just take a deep breath in and out. And I want you to think about a challenge that you have coming up in your life. So you can brainstorm a couple. Whatever comes to mind first, I find, is usually a good place to start. It may be something that we're holding a little bit of tension or worry around, maybe a little bit of anxiety tied to it. Something where we're going to have an opportunity to perform, and we want to perform in a certain way. We have expectations and hopes and dreams about how this event's going to go. It will be impacted by us based on how we perform in the moments leading up to it and in the moments during this event. So go ahead and pick your event and let's transport ourselves to the start of that event. So it hasn't quite started yet. Let's say it's walking into a pitch meeting to pitch investors. I think for us in the startup world, if we're raising capital, that's a huge, intense moment and challenge for us. But it maybe even could be solo work, something that you're creating, something you're designing, and you will judge it in the end yourself, or maybe other people will judge it. And so you want to design and create in a certain way in that moment. So transport yourself now in your head to the beginning of that scene. And the event hasn't quite started yet. It's the seconds, the moments before it starts. How do you feel in this moment? And it's okay to feel anything. Do you feel anxious? Do you feel excited? Do you feel glad that the moment's finally almost here? It's about to start. Are you happy about it? Are you scared? Do you feel fearful? Anything's okay. And let's start the event now. It's happening. You're creating, you're designing, or you're in the moment, you're performing, you're acting, you're interacting. If there's other people in the scene with you, I want you to picture their faces as the interaction is starting. If there's not other people in the event, maybe you're designing something to be seen by folks later, or creating something, maybe you can think of what people will think about the creation that you've produced, or the first time they see it. So what expression is on those people's faces right now as they're interacting with you or the thing that you've created? How do they feel in the moment? When you're looking at them, what expressions do you see, and what does that tell you about how they're feeling in the moment? How do you feel right now in this moment of performance? If someone was looking at your face, what would they intuit that emotion, or the emotion to be based on what they're seeing? Do you look happy? Do you look excited? Do you look a little concerned or worried? What are they experiencing in being in that moment with you? See if you can just tag an emotion for the other people in the room, if there are other folks there, and then an emotion for yourself. See if you can just give it one name in your head right now. All right, let's fast forward to the end. So the experience is over. The moment of production, design, performance, whatever, wherever you went, it's ended. And you're getting a moment to reflect. Maybe you're sitting back down by the creek, where I always like to sit in Boulder on one of the benches, watching people bike and walk by on the Greenway Trail, and watching the water flow by, and watching the ducks swim up and down the stream, maybe watching some fish. You're having a moment of reflection. Now think back on your moment of performance. How do you feel about it? See if you can tag an emotion now that it's over. Do you feel relieved? Do you feel proud? Do you feel joyful? Do you feel, I guess, regret? Could be possible. Do you feel happiness? Do you feel anxiety? See if you can just tag it with a name. Take a second to do that. All right, so now is the time for all of us above the age of 30 that remember tape recorders to play the little tape recorder or VHS tape rewind sound in your head. We're going to rewind back to the beginning again. I'm not going to perform it for you, sorry, but take yourself back to the beginning. Let's rewind the story back to the start of the visualization. And we're going to do it again. So you're standing, sitting in the moment before it's about to start. And this time, something incredible is already happening, even though the event hasn't started. And something incredible is actually about to unfold as well as the event starts. You're sitting there in the moment preparing to get started. What is the most positive and incredible way you could feel in this moment? Just if, hypothetically, something incredible was starting to happen, some incredible idea that's popped into your head or realization about the opportunity that's coming. What's the most positive thing you could possibly feel? We don't even have to hold on to the bounds of reality here, right? You could maybe have just suddenly discovered that you can fly. That's fine. Let's just go ahead and be in that moment, be in that discovery, whatever it is that might serve you in that moment. And I want you to tag the emotion that has come up. Is it exciting? Is it joyful? Are you proud? Are you happy? Are you eager? Whatever it could be, whatever your version of positive is. Now let's go ahead and start the event. And an incredible gift has just happened. You're seconds or minutes into this experience. You're interacting with other people. And if you're interacting with other people, someone has just said something incredible, the most positive thing you could possibly imagine. Honestly, you couldn't even come up with it before this moment. They've just surprised you in this incredible way. So in your head, what did they say? What is incredible? What surprise has occurred? And now your response to this surprises you as well. Something incredible, another gift just comes out in the moment. You're performing exactly the way you wanted to, or even far beyond your own expectations. This incredible gift of the interaction that's happening has happened. And you're almost shocked and surprised at how amazing it's gone. Think about the people's faces around you if you're interacting with other people. What expression do they have on their faces in this moment, this incredible gift that has presented itself in the conversation? What expression is on your face? If they're looking at you now, what are they interpreting that you're feeling on the inside? And take a second to tag your emotion that you're feeling in this moment. Something maybe you would never have imagined would have come up during this moment of performance or interaction. All right, let's fast forward to the end now. And you're having a moment of reflection afterwards. If you were interacting with others, the folks have moved on, you're by yourself. If you were creating, you've closed the laptop or walked out of the studio, and you now have a moment to think back about this just unbelievable experience. You probably can't wait to tell other people about it, and you're just trying to process it yourself. What emotion are you feeling now? Think about if you were sitting on a bench by the creek in Boulder and somebody walked by and looked at your face, what expression would they see on your face? And what might they interpret that to mean that you're feeling on the inside? Just take one last deep breath in. Let it out. And you can open your eyes and come back to the environment around you again. All right, just take a moment to do a little self-analysis of the mind and the body. Has anything changed from before that exercise? Just think about it on your own. Are you feeling more excited about the event, maybe? Maybe you wished you picked a different event. You can do it again. The pattern's very simple, so you can walk through it on your own whenever you want. I like to use positivity visualization to try and break out of the default thinking patterns I have about things. I think, as humans, we just assign kind of default concepts to things. This is good, that is bad. I should be afraid of this. I shouldn't be afraid of that because that's always easy or that's always hard. And the reality is life is really way more complex than that. It's so nuanced and it's different every single day. And our ability to change and adapt in the moment may be the greatest gift that we have to helping us reach our dreams and also just live in the moment and enjoy the moments along the way. And so I find myself having default thinking around things, all the time. And activities like this can help produce different types of outcomes. So that can be more positive as I come into it and be more open to whatever opportunities present themselves in the moment. And also not to worry about them so much on the front side. If I have a little more positivity about what's coming up, my own anxiety response of, oh, that's scary or that's going to be bad, starts to just settle down just a little bit. That allows opportunities to come up. So our last category today is the preparation category. And I'm really excited to introduce my good friend, Keith Roberts. Keith and I have worked together on the Entrepreneurs Organization Colorado chapter board for a couple of years. He is an amazing teacher and spiritual person, and he has created a product called the Oak Journal, which is a journal that has a lot of activities like this in it to help people be more productive. And Keith's going to lead us through our last activity of the day. So Keith, welcome, my friend.
Thanks, Aaron. It's great to see everybody. I picked an activity today called the 4 7s, and I thought the 4 7s was very poignant with this particular place in time that we are at. So grab a piece of paper and a pen And the 4 sevens, the first 7 is 7 years from now. So if you know today that May 13th, 2021 was your last day on Earth, you were leaving this planet no matter what are the things that you need to accomplish yet in this life? What do you need to see? What business accomplishments or goals do you still want to accomplish? Do you need to start a family? What are the things? Take about a minute, 90 seconds. 7 years from now, you're leaving this earth. What do you need to accomplish? Let's take about 30 more seconds. Some of the stuff that I come up with in the 7 years, they're really bucket list things. I have a degree in underwater photography, but I've never done a cage dive with a great white shark. That's on my bucket list. I would like to sell my agency. What are the things? 7 years, I've almost got a decade left. Now the next 7, it gets a little bit harder. I want you to imagine that 7 months from today, January 13th, 2021, you're leaving this earth. Now that we have that little time left, only 7 short months, what matters to you? So let's make another bulleted list of the things that we need to accomplish, knowing that in 7 months, we're gone. Let's take about 30 more seconds, just quick bullets. 7 months, what has to be accomplished? For me, at the 7-month time, now I'm thinking a little more critically. I need to reconcile my relationship with my brother. That's not healthy. I need to make sure that my will and my finances and all of those things are in place. Now it's going to get a little bit harder. The third 7 is 7 weeks. So now we know 7 weeks from today, less than 2 months, we're leaving this planet. Now, what are the things that are on your list that have to get done? It definitely gets a little bit harder at the 7 weeks. The things that are on my 7 weeks are pretty emotional. They're things like write a letter to each of my sons for each of their birthdays, memories that I want to create. And the fourth 7 is even harder. So the fourth 7 is 1 week from today, next Wednesday, you're leaving this planet. You have 7 short days left. What are you going to do with this precious time? What matters to you in these 7 days? While you're writing your last few 7s, I want to share with you where this exercise came from. This is lessons from people, hospice providers, people that are dealing with those that are transitioning out of this life, and the lessons that they've learned from people that are on their deathbed. And when you write your fourth 7, the 7 days, I've found that almost everybody comes down to the same things that really matter. And they're not selling a company, they're not money, they're not house or cars or anything like that. The 4 sevens, when you get down to the 7 days, are things like I will have breakfast with my children every day. I will go to sleep with my partner at the same time and snuggle them. They're all things that we actually have the capacity to do right now while we're stuck in this self-isolation. So the reason that Aaron and I chose the 4 sevens exercise is to give us a little different perspective as to how we could look at this challenge as a gift versus something that we have to overcome, and really reprioritize what matters to us. The truth is, we don't know. Today could be our last day on earth. I could get hit by a bus, walking across the street. We don't know. Every day is a gift. So take these 4 sevens, do a little bit more work, throw all of the bullets that you need, and then go backwards and start working with, okay, what do I need to do? If it's have breakfast with my children, you can do that every day moving forward. You don't have to wait until you're at your end of your life to have this realization as to what really matters. I hope that was helpful, and I will hand it back off to my good friend, Aaron.
That was incredible. I wrote the last line, hug everyone I see for the next 7 days, right? If I had 7 days left on earth, I would just give as much love as I could to everybody, right? Like, what else is there? Gosh, I didn't know the exact structure of what you were going to do there. That was incredible. And I'll just share quickly before we wrap up here that it's 10 years ago when I was building my most successful company. We had millions of dollars of revenue. We were growing quickly. I was just a little over 10 years ago. I was 28 years old. I was diagnosed with stage 4 metastatic cancer. And I remember calling my business partner into my office and just breaking into tears and trying to understand what was next. And there was about a month between my diagnosis and figuring out what I was going to do next, like figuring out a medical plan of action to try and get back to healthy again. And I had to go in for what ultimately was a 10-hour surgery. And I actually recorded a video of myself that I've never shown to anyone. I don't think my wife actually even knows this exists. On camera before I went in to have my surgery. And it was kind of something like this. It was like, if there was everything I could say to the world as a 28-year-old, we were married, we didn't have kids yet, what would it be? And I cut it down to about a 4 or 5 minute video and just filmed myself saying it. And I assumed that it would probably be found if I didn't survive the surgery, which, spoiler alert, I'm still here. So I'm glad to be here. But it just reminded me of that experience of like, how could you possibly condense everything you want to say to the world down into a couple of minutes? And I took an attempt at it years ago. So thank you for bringing that to the experience today. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap us up. But thank you so much, everyone, for being here. That's my morning prime process. It's usually about 15 minutes, but we had a lot of fun today. And before we drop off here, I would love to just ask everybody how they're feeling now. Just drop it into chat. Let's put a couple thoughts in there just to kind of get a read on how everybody's feeling. Feeling really kind of connected, a little emotional after that last one, Keith. That was nice. Feeling grateful, at peace. That's great. Yeah, some folks feeling connected. More peaceful than in a long time. I love to hear that. That's great. Very thoughtful. Relax. Excellent. Kristen's going to go for a walk. Nice. All right. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here. Have a great Boulder Startup Week. And thanks to Keith Roberts for joining me today. We're going to do this again on Friday morning at 9 a.m. So much love. Have a great week. And man, think about living in the moment.